Okay, all passengers, fasten your seatbelts. We are flying.
We're
Okay.
spirit.
We got an air marshal on board.
We're the real spirit.
See what happened? Isn't spirit the airline that messed you over?
Yeah.
And then they would go up under.
Messed many people. Messed many people.
That's
Okay.
everybody.
So for Ephraim, it's going to be his second time learning the first half of the Sikha. I think it says that Moshe Rabbeinu first taught to Aaron, and then Aaron stood on the side. Then he taught all his kids, and they were on their
First
side.
time here.
So Aaron heard it 2 times, and then his kids heard it once. And then he called in the Sanhedrin, and then they heard it again. So it comes out that Aaron heard it 3 times, and his kids heard it 2 times, and then the Sanhedrin heard it once. Then he called all the Yidden. So some people hear something more than once. So you're going to hear the first half more than once, and everyone else. Okay. And this week's parsha, it says, the pasuk says like this: the land will give its produce. So our sages say on this pasuk, in Torah's Kainim, Medrash Torah's Kainim, what does it mean the land will give out its produce? What's the chiddush? So what's the special blessing? So he answers, the land is going to give out its produce, not like the way it's giving it out now, rather like it was giving out the produce in the times of Adam Rishon, which is, like we're going to say, because through Eitz Adas, God cursed the land. So it's going to go back to the way it was before the curse.
Who says this?
This says in Teres Koidim on the pasuk. Medrash Teres Koidim, and the Medrash continues and says, "When nine shaharetz asida liyis nizras, where do we know that when you plant, it's going to grow the exact same day? You're going to put a seed. You're not going to wait once a year to get your mangoes, but every day, every single day, you're going to have your mangoes on your tree. And where do we know this? The pasuk says God made the remembrance his wonders. Zeicher also l'nifla'isav. That we should remember the miracles that were back then, and we're going to see it again. And this is what the pasuk says. And where do we know that in the times of Adam Rishon, it was giving fruits the same day? So the answer is the pasuk says, "The dashe haaretz desha esav." Hashem told the land, start growing, give fruits, grow, and the same day it grew. What do we see? We learn from this, the same day it was planted, the same day the fruits grew. What does it mean? The branches of the tree, it says in this week's parsha, will give its fruits. Medrash says, not like now, rather like the times of Adam Rishon, which it means the same day you planted, the same day you ate. Where do we know that you're able to eat the branches of the tree, the bark? You're able to eat the tree itself. Not only the fruits of the tree, but the tree itself. That's also what it says. Eitz pri. Says the Medrash. It doesn't say eitz oisepri. Trees that make fruits, because that says already. This that the trees will make fruits, we know. But this that the tree itself is going to be like fruits. That's the pasuk eitz pri. So we see from here that we're going to be, that the trees themselves will be edible and have a good taste. Where do we know that even trees that don't give out fruits now, if you learn Yisroch, even they will be making fruits? That's what the pasuk says. So we see from here, the Medrash is elaborating over here on great miracles and wonders that are going to be taking place when Moshiach comes. The guy plants a tree, it grows the same day. You can eat the tree. All trees will be giving out fruits. And all of this is based off the psukim of this week's parsha. This we also see in the Gemara Ksubis, where it talks about the Gula. Very similarly, it says Eretz Yisrael is going to give out on the trees. Baked cakes are going to be growing on the trees. Clothes, special clothes, expensive clothes are going to be there hanging on the trees. It says the height of one wheat kernel is going to be the size of a palm tree. That's how high it's going to be. And each seed, and each kernel is going to be the size of a kidney of a big bull. And instead of it being a little thing like this, it's going to be a nice big, that's each wheat kernel. Now, the question is, when we open up the Rambam, when he talks about the Geula, the Rambam says, "V'lo yiyeh kol ha'olam." Elo ladas es Hashem avad. The occupation of the whole world when Mashiach is going to come is only going to be to know God. And it says, therefore, everyone's going to be very smart. Everyone's all the Yidden are going to be chachamim g'dolim. We're all going to know hidden secrets. We're going to know God according to the ability of a person. We're able to grasp God. That it says the world is going to be flooded and loaded and overflown with people busy knowing God. Just like when you look at an ocean, you just see tons of water. That's what you're going to see, people busy knowing God. So the question is, even though, yes, if you didn't have a lot of kashmistic benefits, you're not going to have, all of these things. So it's going to help us daven and learn, etc., etc. We want me to be busy wasting our time trying to make money to pay some bills. You're just going to have everything is going to be in abundance. But the question is, why do Chazal need to elaborate so much about this? Why is there a arichus? Why is it? It's not just it's going to be good and have a nice day. It doesn't say that. You're getting into all of these nitty-gritty details, and they're elaborating more and more and more and talking about it. And seemingly, these things are not going to be important. Then the Rambam says in the same halacha, "V'chol ha'ma'adanim etzuim k'ofer." All the ma'adanim, all the pleasures, all the ma'adanim are going to be like dust. So if something's like dust, well, you need to have a lot of dust. I'm giving you a present for your birthday, Ben. 50,000 pounds of dust. Is that like a good birthday present? What are you going to do with it? You have no idea. So if everything is like dust, so why are Chazal talking and talking and talking? It's going to have this, it's going to be like this, it's going to be like that. If it's offer, so who needs offer? What do you need to elaborate about offer?
This is from the pasuk in Bahar. Which pasuk? Oh,
B'chol koisai. It's Bahar B'chol koisai.
The Rambam brings this thing though as one of the proofs from Torah Moshe. He doesn't bring
No, he doesn't bring it.
He says why
It doesn't bring this. Many times it says he has. I think we spoke about it, or we will speak about it with Hashem's help. But the Rambam has a specific.
things from 3 places.
Yes, he has a specific.
Doesn't mean to say that these are the only.
No, exactly. There's many places. I mean, many. There's more places than just that. You have in Parshas Azinu, and you have in Moshiach Avinu, Achras Hayomim, and Yehuda, whatever. There's different things, but he has a specific goal that he's trying to, a certain building he's trying to build. That's why he brings those 3 places. He's not just bringing everywhere. That's not his. He's not bringing Malaka over here. But the point is, who needs it? Who needs it? What's the point of talking about it if the whole world is going to be busy to know God? So the Rebbe says this question, the same question Mefarshim asked on this week's parsha. This week's parsha it says, "Im bechol koisai teilechu." That's mitzvah say tishmoiru. You're going to go in my chukim. You're going to watch my mitzvahs. What are you going to get? The nasuna haaretz yivula. The land is going to give its produce. It's going to rain on the right time. And the pasuk goes on and on to speak about different gashmistic and blessings. The question is, Gashmis is fake. It's not real. Why is the real schar is Olam Haba? The real schar is a ruchnistic schar. So why does the Torah need to tell us so much or about all of this? This week's parsha, the same question. Now, there's Mefarshim that answer this according to the Rambam. The Rambam's Mahalach in Hilchas Tshuva, and also in Pirush HaMishnais, by Masechah Sanhedrin, the Akdama, the Perik Chelik over here. There, the Rambam explains that all these promises, for all these kashmistic advantages and benefits that the Torah talks about in this week's parsha, that's not the schar. This isn't the reward for our Torah and mitzvahs. It's not the reward. All what it is just giving us the possibility to learn Torah and do mitzvahs in a better way, without anything bothering us or putting us, taking away from us our peace of mind, because people need all these things. And the real schar is Olam Haba. It's a spiritual schar. And why doesn't the pasuk talk about it? Because we need to serve Hashem l'shma. We have to serve Hashem not in order to receive a reward. So we don't know what the reward is. We don't know what Elam Haba is. We can't grasp what Elam Haba is. There's no video of Elam Haba. There's nothing. So the Torah doesn't talk about the Ruchanistic Eschad. What it does talk about, that's not the schar, that's not the reward. This isn't the reward. All of these gasheristic things that the Torah says isn't the reward. It's only, like we said, if you're hiring a worker, someone hires a worker, so he gives him a paycheck at the end of the month. But he also gives him benefits. He says, okay, I'm giving you a car, I'm giving you a place to sleep, I'm giving you this, I'm giving you that. But that's not the reward, the car, the place to sleep, let's say food. That's not his paycheck. His paycheck comes in the end of the month. So to all of these gasheristic things that it says in this week's parsha, the lad's going to give its produce, and it's going to rain in time, and you're going to have this, and you're going to have whatever you need. That's not the reward. That's just making it easier for us to do Torah. It's making us to do our work. It's all part of our work time, and the reward is going to come later. Why don't we say? Because it should be the Shema. So that's the Rambam's opinion.
It's making it so that we don't have the daiga of stress, of parnasa and everything. Everything will be so much abundance, so that it'll be free time to do.
You have a peace of mind, yeah. You don't need to worry the whole day. Right. You don't need to be worried. How am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to do this? God's going to say, okay, you're going to put yourself in the Torah. I'm going to give you whatever you need. You can continue davening and learning and serving me.
But you don't need so much. You don't need that. You don't really need all that peace of mind to do Torah mitzvahs. You don't need to have. Yeah, like you don't need it to. You just need, okay, you have what you need, and that's it. If someone told you every day you're going to have a place to eat.
Yeah, so this is part of the Rebbe's first question.
You don't need to be like, oh, you start to see it. Oh, shoot.
Right. So that's part of the original question of the Rebbe regarding to the Geula. Not in this week's parsha. But yeah, there he asked that question. But maybe so what you're saying,
everything's gonna be good.
But that's because now we're talking about this week's parsha. The Geula it goes together, but that's now he's talking about the question is if there's some massive arichus in this week's parsha. Like what you're saying, it says, right. So the ikar and shleimus eschad is ruchni. So why is it Torah meidich? It is meidich in this week's parsha about gashmus eschad. So that's the question. So according to the Rambam, that's not eschad. It sounds like there's a big arichus. So what's the Rambam going to tell you? It's not an arichus, whatever it is. In order for you to daven and learn better, you need to know about all of these type of stuff. Something like that. That's what I'll tell you. That's not the schar. He says clearly, that's not the schar. Anything with Gashmi, that's not the reward. The reward is spiritual. Anything Gashmi is only in order to make it better. Maybe sometimes a person needs, I don't know, what does it say? We shouldn't get off track too much, but it says that someone was used to, a rich person was used to having chamoir. What is it? Evid Loris Lafonov. It's that if a guy.
The guy is rich
and he used to have, and he came poor, right? You have to make him fill up his void. And it says, even if that means that this guy was used to having a whole bunch of people running in front of him and blowing trumpets and I don't know what, that's not considered. You need to give him that. That's not considered making him rich. That's considered giving him his basic, that's like his, butter and bread. That's day machseri, right? You give him a day machseri, and you're not mitzvah to make him rich. And all of that's part of day machseri, which means sometimes crazy things, which is out of the box. You're looking at this guy. So I need to take from this moisid of stocker for the poor and give this guy money to have some guy driving in front of him, screaming and then blowing a trumpet and rolling down a red carpet or whatever. Well, for some people, the guy could become sick. I mean, for him, if he doesn't have what he was used to or whatever, it's all part of the day machsoir. It's not considered making him rich. But the point is, it can be that for some people, these type of things, when it says in this week's parsha, these are things that are happening, as Mana said, before the Gula. And the Gula, it's going to be Mishlemus, but it's talking about even about things that happen now. It can be that it's necessary, even if it's sounds like it's out of the box or stickle. Okay, but the Rebbe says, according to several Mefarshim, this week's parsha, the Gashmizdika things, this is the schar for Torah and mitzvahs. It's not only like the Rambam's opinion that it's only that it's not the reward. According to the Rambam, this is not the reward. It's only a bonus for you to. It's only a worker's. How do you call it? You know, like
benefits.
a worker benefit. That's all what it is. And the reward is in the end of the day, it's some spiritual reward. But according to some of Farshim, this is the reward. This is the schar for Kimat Torah and mitzvahs.
Exclusively?
What?
Just this?
Not just this, but this is part of the schar itself. And the question is, yeah, so now why are we saying this? And the question is, if according to that, if your person needs to serve Hashem Lishma, why are you telling me about these Gashmistik schar? Why are you telling me? So the answer is, why are you talking about schar b'chlal? Why are you talking about reward altogether? A person needs to serve God. Lishma. We say in Pirkei Yavis, al tiyu kavod ma'mishram shemesarav amaras lekabel pras.
Not everybody's on that level.
So that's the Rebbe's answer. Because the Torah is talking to the majority of people, Torah l'reif the David, and most people, the Rambam clearly writes that to serve God just for the sake of serving God, that's the level of Avraham Avinu. And the Rambam writes, "Ve'ein kol chacham zoichel lezeh." Even from the chachamim themselves, not every chacham could reach this level of just serving God out of love for the sake of serving God. You need to, he says, most people, they can't serve God out of love. They need to serve God out of fear. They need to know, if I'm not going to do Torah and mitzvahs, I'm going to get this punishment, God forbid, and this. Like, guys, okay, I'm going to do Torah and mitzvahs. That's what most people need to hear. And I'm sorry. And people need to hear, and people need to know that if they do Torah and mitzvahs, they're going to be getting they're going to be getting a Gashmistik schar. They're going to be getting Gashmistik rewards physically. Because that's what people need to hear. So just like it's in regarding to talk about getting reward in general, what do you need to talk about getting payment? Who cares? Even the Ruchel is taking payment, don't tell me. Just serve God for the sake of serving God. Why are you talking to me about getting paid? Because people need to get paid. That's the way people work. Most people work, need to get paid. Because we're not on this high level. And if so, what type of payment do you get? I'll pay you with something that I don't even know what it is. I'm gonna pay you with Chinese coins and not Chinese coins. So you're not gonna want it. A guy's gonna give you some. A guy will give you currency from what? A guy's gonna. A guy will pay you with a currency that's discontinued. What is gonna help you? So the point is to get paid something that you want that you want. Now, just like it's regarding to the reward that you pay, because that's the type of reward people want to hear. So too, right? So too regarding the Rebbe says, which this is a very big chiddush. For me, when I saw this sikha, I was mamish. I was surprised, I have to say the least. The Rebbe says so too. Why do Chazal talk about Gash Mizdika Yehudim la'osu lavi in the Geula? The Rebbe says even in the Geula, not everyone will right away, instantly, be on the highest madrega. That all what he cares is only about spirituality. Even after Moshiach comes, people are going to be interested in getting.
Where does he get this from? Well, why does he say this? Like, what's worse than this?
Just like, why does Chazal talk about Gash Mizdiki Yehudim? Why are Chazal talking about it? Because this is what talks to people. This is
our low level, yeah.
Right. So too. Why do Chazal talk about Gash Mizdiki Yehudim about Yemei Mashiach? So the Rebbe says two things. Why are the Rebbe asked two questions? There's district's parsha in general about getting cash with the schar now. Why are there cash with the schar now? And and also about the gula. It's a double question. It's two questions. That's two-part question. So the answer is, he says, not the Rambam's opinion. The other mafresh that this is a schar because see, I answered it by first saying, why are you talking about schar? Because people need to hear about schar. People are not on this hoicha madrega that all what they care about is just spirituality. So they need to know about physicality. That's what's going to excite them and get them to do Torah and mitzvahs. And it's not only to get them, but even when they do Torah and mitzvahs, they need to continuously be getting a gash with the schar. Even Mizman Hazeh, a guy knows I'm doing Torah and mitzvahs, I'm getting gash with the schar. He's going to continue doing Torah and mitzvahs, and he's going to continue to be getting his gash with the things now. It's not only the Osud Lavoi. But also, for the Sadiq Yishmecha Midah, but doesn't mean after 120 years. Doesn't mean the Oil of Haba and Elf Hashvi. It means now, in your day-to-day life. A guy sees, I'm getting rain. I'm getting my fruits are, it's going good. My business is going good. So that's what gets him to, that's what he wants to hear. That's what talks to him. That's his schar. And that's why he's serving Hashem. So that's why the Torah gives such a schar. And so too, the Rebbe says, this for me was a shtickle chiddush, that even after Moshiach comes, people will still be interested in these gashmistic things.
But he has no effort to say that. What's forcing him to say that?
Why is Chazal talking about it?
Because they want people to be mitzvah for Mashiach.
No, so that's no get to now. But why is it going to be then? So then you're saying it's just a waste. It has no purpose. It was just to get us to want Moshiach, but it's not only that. So then why is there? So Hashem is making
all this great stuff then when Mashiach comes, so that people will want Mashiach to come.
So that's true. That he says in the footnote here.
It doesn't mean that when Mashiach comes, everyone's going to be all excited about the Gashmias. It's going to just be there.
It's just going to be there on the side, and no one's going to be interested in it. So the Rebbe says no. He says, but even when Mashiach comes, no one's going to fly up to be at Tzaddik Gomor. That all they're going to care about is ruchnis like this. Everyone will reach eventually. He says.
He's saying that Hashem wouldn't make something.
What do you need? Why you
exist in the times of Mashiach? It didn't have a purpose for it.
According to what you're saying, it's just going to be there, and it's all for away. God's making miracles for nothing.
Right.
No, he says, "Gam la'osid lavei lo yagia kol echad ve'echad takef la'asoga nailis v'schar ufani." But after Mashiach comes. Not everyone right away will reach to these highest levels. It says, the Pasuk says, everyone's going to know me from the little ones to the big ones. Which means even then, there's going to be little ones and big ones. Not everyone's going to be the same today. What do you think?
Yeah, but it's a bit finish to say that people are going to be, the little ones are going to be,
and he says, the Rebbe says, not everyone's going to reach to the darg of avoid of lishma even after Mashiach comes.
That's crazy.
That's what he says. Avoid the ma'ava. He says, I said before, but for me, this is a big chiddush. They ended up saying. But the Rebbe says, this is what the Rebbe is saying. Even after Mashiach comes, it's not going to be a magic show. That second, all of a sudden, you're going to be a different person, and all of a sudden, you're all. He says,
no, I don't want these. I want
people. The reason why there's going to need to be all of that stuff, because there's going to be people that are still going to be excited for such things.
But once they see it's
For
done,
a short period of time.
He said the lashon over here is lo yagia taketh right away. Won't be right away. Taketh. Remember, we learned taketh from a yad. How much ezel taketh? Is it a few days? Is it a few hours? Whatever it is. But not everyone will right away reach to these highest levels. Everyone will for sure reach eventually. The question is, according to your work now, that's what's going to be then. If you worked on yourself now to understand, and here the Rebbe say, give it then. So It's nicht as a whatever it is. And for me, it was a massive chiddush. I have to say the way the Rebbe is saying it over here, because the way I always viewed, maybe the Rebbe is like talking, maybe the Rebbe is like explaining the basic Maimonic Chazal. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily he's talking mamish. The Rebbe is explaining over here a Medrash, a Gemara. What did this Gemara and Medrash mean for the past 2,000 years, whatever it is? It could be maybe now the Maisa, because we're already in a matzav of Zochel, and it says the Beis Hamikdash are come down from heaven, and we're at a much higher level, whatever. So it could be right away where no one's going to be interested in all of that stuff. But the way he's explaining the Maimonic Chazal, first of all, why are Chazal and Ksubis, Teres Koinim, talking about Gashmias? So he's saying because for two reasons, which you started mentioning, and he says that in the Ha'ara, which this is, we'll say that in a second, but he says, because it's going to be people, not everyone's going to reach right away to a level that all what they care about is spirituality right away when Mashiach comes, for sure not to their level of Avodah Ma'ava, only for the sake of God, only. It's going to take time from level to level. And he says, "V'lo yivoled Adam betachlis hashleimus v'yedias v'asargas Hashem v'avodah me'ava." Person is not going to be born like this all of a sudden. The highest madreges, the highest levels of knowing God and serving God out of love.
I like this actually. I think this is a benefit. You know why? It means he can come now, because nobody's on that level right now.
You say, given then it's going to be. That means that
He can come right now.
Right.
I mean, obviously, we have people that aren't at the highest level of their potential.
Right.
And,
Even when Moshiach comes, it's going to be still some access already to be done.
Yeah. He says it's going to be there's a liyos machayil chayil, right? And he says kedei lahaktim ulazarizoy al kivatenu mitzvahs. See what the Rebbe is saying here? In order to keep the yidden excited to do Torah mitzvahs even after Mashiach comes, so then it's going to be like pak. You put the coin in the machine, and then the vending machine, and then the whatever. It comes out, and this. So Mashiach's going to come. You're going to plant the seed, and because a guy sees he's learning Torah, doing mitzvahs much more than all of a sudden, boom, the tree grows. He's going to see how his Torah and mitzvahs.
He's going to go daven.
He's going to go down the chakras.
He's
He's going to see the
He's going
results.
to get more support.
He's going to see how valuable it actually is.
Yeah, he's going to see it, and he's going to be excited to learn Torah and do mitzvahs. He's going to daven even more, learn even more. That's the language people will still be speaking, at least in the early stages of the redemption. Now, the Rebbe adds in the footnote here, and he says, like what you said before, that it's a negel is what is that. Why are Chazal talking about the Gashmis, the physical abundance and wealth that's going to be when Mashiach comes? It's also to get us excited now to want Mashiach. The Rebbe says because every Jew, not only big tzaddikim, every single Jew is obligated to believe that Mashiach is going to come and wait. The Rambam says a person is obligated to be a machaka libiyasei, a waiter, someone that's waiting, anticipating, wanting Mashiach to come. And because most Yidden now, even you think about it, then the Rebbe says even after the Gula, not everyone's going to be on this level of serving Hashem. Ma'ava is still going to be interested in Gashmias. How much more so before? Can you imagine the Rebbe saying even after the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi is going to be built, and after Kibbutz Goliath, and after people will still have, not necessarily people will be fagrep. That's the people will be like, okay, who have more money, The Rebbe says the whole world is going to be busy knowing God, but still, planting a seed and the tree growing the same day is still going to mean something to someone. But the Rebbe is saying, so if that's then, how much more so now? That if you want every single year to wait for Mashiach, he's not going to wait for Mashiach with his whole heart and soul. If he only knows about the spiritual benefit that's going to be when Mashiach comes. If you go to every guy and just tell me, Mashiach is going to come, it's going to be Gilui of Primus Atik. He's going to say, okay, have a nice day. He doesn't know what Primus Atik is. What are you telling me, Primus Atik? Every time there's going to be revelation of God in the whole world, he doesn't know what God is. He doesn't know. He's not. He's got okay. So you know what he wants. Pretty satic. He wants revelation, but he still doesn't feel that he wants it. But if someone knows that he's struggling with his business and his parnas and whatever, he knows Moshiach's going to come tonight. He's going to have anybody he wants. He'll have $1 billion. He'll have whatever. So the guy's like, okay, it's worth it for Mashiach to come tonight. I really want him to come tonight. If someone's sick, God forbid, and he knows that if Mashiach's going to come tonight, everyone's healed, he's going to want Mashiach really to come now. So that's why Chazal are talking about physical, gashmistic things in order to get everyone excited for Mashiach. Why
Sorry, I lost you there for a minute.
why are Chazal talking so much about physical wealth and abundance that's going to be in the world when Mashiach is going to
That's what we
come?
want to hear now. That's
Because everyone's obligated to wait for Mashiach.
in order to wait
And
for Mashiach, you gotta have.
You got to know about such things. Everyone, every single yid needs to wait for Mashiach and want Mashiach. We want Mashiach now. Yes.
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 That's his line. Yes.
Yes. Now. Yes.
Whenever he says we want Mashiach now,
Yes.
so Yankee
Yes.
screams yes.
Yes.
You paid attention. Whatever.
Yes. Sometimes I say I want Mashiach. Now
But Yankee is always there with it. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the point is, every year needs to want Mashiach, and to get every year to want Mashiach, every single year needs to see what does he need, and that's what Chazal's doing in this week's parsha. Lollipop, whatever your lollipop is, if it's money, if it's health, if it's this, if it's
Something will
that,
make you excited.
to really want Mashiach to come. Right. Okay, so this is the first beer. This is the first explanation, but this is not the explanation. Why not? The Rebbe says this is a doichak. The Rebbe says like this, because this week's parsha, Parshas Bechol Kodesh, and all the parshas that talk about the schar for learning Torah and doing mitzvahs, it's not only talking also to the Roiv and excluding the tzaddikim. You're also talking to tzaddikim.
Mhm.
What's with them? You're telling me that why you're talking about physical things, because that's what talks to the people on the street, which they're the majority of the Jewish people. They're the Roiv, and Torah is talking to the Roiv. So you got to tell them about the Kashmir. But what's with the tzaddikim? They're also part of the Torah. The Torah is also talking to them. What are they doing with all of these psukim? Why do they need to know all these Mabarach
For
Hazal?
those who serve Hashem, Shema.
Right, those that serve Hashem and Shema,
Shema.
the Ma'ahava, and all what they care about is spirituality, what do you need to tell them
About that.
about all these physical things? Right?
I don't.
You do. This Torah is talking to them also. It's not only talking to those that are Shalom Lishmonics, which is most, it's everyone. You can't say that the Torah is only talking to a certain type of people. He says, "Nismar shaftach al schar." He says, "Never l'chol Yisrael, gam le'elu shem edarga nadis b'avedis Hashem." According to the first mirror, we said this parsha is like you're saying, it's only for those that are on a low level. But someone that's on a high level, serving Hashem the Shema, doesn't need to hear all of these psukim. He says, even though I told al reiv tedaber, mistaber yoysul afarish, ma'ifim shia shaykh l'kol. There has to be a different explanation that's shaykh to everyone, even to tzaddikim. And there also has to be a limud, even for the mute, which are lishma. What do they need to know about this? And the Rebbe says even more than that. On the pasuk in Bechol Kodesh Telechu, this week's parsha, what does it say? What does Rashi say? What does it mean in Bechol Kodesh Telechu? Shetiyu amelim b'Torah. You should toil in Torah, which means you're dealing with what type of people? You're dealing with people not that just are like, okay, the guy's, wants to have a good time, so you want to get him to, put on tefillin, to do something small. So here you're gonna get, you're gonna win the lottery if you serve God. You'll get some gosh music and stuff. No, here you're saying shetiyu amelim b'Torah. You should toil in Torah. You should toil in Torah, in mitzvahs. So a guy that's on this level of toiling in Torah and mitzvahs, so what are you going to get? I'm going to give you rain. I'm going to give you chocolate chip cookies with sushi
Oh,
and pizza and French fries.
where's the piece?
That's what they're telling him. I'm going to give you rain. I'm going to give you nasna chivula, and that's for Amelim Batoira. You're talking about Amelim Batoira, and the Rebbe says especially the Sfarim, and who does it? With the Sfarim, he brings the Alter Rebbe and the other Mefarshim. They say, "What's Chukoisai? Chukoisai is Melosh and Chakika, engraved." What's the difference between writing something on a parchment or engraving something?
That's on top of the parchment.
Right, and a parchment
It's already
you can't erase it, or ink and the parchment is two separate things. Engraving, the word is part of the rock itself. It's not, you can't separate between the person and the Torah. What does it mean? That you shall learn Torah to such a melus, such a toil, that it becomes a part of you. That it's not that there's you and the Torah, but the Torah is a part of the person, that you can't separate between the person and the Torah. Guy is there only for God. The Torah is part of him. And now what's the schar for Bechukoisai Teleichu? When the Torah is a part of you, you're going to get rain. You're going to get chocolate chip cookies. You're going to get sushi and ice cream and whatever. And a pizza. That's the schar for being Amelim B'Torah. That's the schar for becoming one with the Torah, that you can't differentiate between you and the Torah. So the Rebbe says, from this we have to say, so obviously we're dealing with someone that's on a very high Madareg over here. It's not also talking, it's not, you're not talking to the guy that's on that. You're talking to the guy that's high Madareg. And you're telling him you're going to get this Gash Misnikas Chach. So the question is, what does he need to hear about it? What's this meant to mean? You're talking to a guy that's toiling in Torah, he's one with the Torah, you're getting Gash Misnikas things. So the Rebbe explains, it says in the Pasuk, the Torah is Kihu Chayecha. Torah is your life. Torah is your life. What does it mean, Torah is your life? Does that mean that Torah is your spiritual life? Or Torah is your life, Begashmius also? If Torah is your life, it means that it's your physical Gashmizdika life also. That it is your actual life. It's not your life in Adam Haba, it's not your life in Beruchniyas. It's your Gashmizdika life down here in this world in Adam Hazagashmi.
That's why the reward is connected to the avodah.
What do you mean to the avodah?
The learning of the Torah, the doing mitzvah, learning, you get a reward because it's part of the life,
Yes, it's part of your life. That's why you're getting rewarded here also.
Yeah.
But the Rebbe is going to explain this. Torah is your life. And also, if it's your life, if something's your life, it's not an added thing to you. It penetrates in every part of you. Your life, it's not like your clothes that you wear. It's not your food that you eat. If it's your life, then it's everything. It penetrates every single part of your body, every single piece and part of you. If you want to see if someone's alive, you don't need to check his, his heart. It's easier by checking his heart, but you can see it in any part of his body. And he gives it if someone meditates on something that really makes him really, really happy. The guy's really, really happy. The first thing he's going to do, if he's really happy, he's going to get up and start jumping and dancing. I thought about it when I was learning the Sikha today. I remember when I found the Rebbe's father's handwriting, original, actual handwriting from the Rebbe's father, and it was $150, which such a thing is like. I saw it once in an auction house for $20,000. A handwriting from the Rebbe's father, $20,000. Here I got it for $150. I remember I was literally jumping. I stood up and I was so happy. I was jumping and dancing, whatever. Because if someone's really happy, it's not like, okay, the happiness doesn't stay in his head like locked up over there. It penetrates till the foot, and you start jumping and dancing. If someone's alive, it penetrates everything, every single part of the person. You see it. It doesn't have these limitations. And he says of it, the Gemara says this famous story that when in Gittin, when the king knew, when we say Amelech, Was it Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai? He told
Vespasian.
huh?
Vespasian.
What's it?
Vespasian.
Is Vespasian? That's the name of the king,
He was a general.
the general, and Gemara
And
get to
then a messenger came from telling him that now the Senate picked you as the new emperor.
right. So after he told him that you're the new king, he told him that you're the new king, and then they told him he was the new king, and he couldn't take off his shoe. His shoe didn't. He couldn't take it off. Gemara says why. So he told him what's going on over here. He told Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai what's happening. He said, since Shmuel Toivet the Dashanatsu, when somebody hears good news, his bones get bigger. So he told him, so what should I do? Should I take off my shoes? He says, go call your enemy to walk by you, and then your bones will come small again, and you'll be able to take off your shoe.
Ego.
Whatever. Yes, and you hear good news, it penetrates the foot.
Yeah.
It penetrates the foot. It penetrates the whole entire being, the whole entire person. And the Rebbe is saying so too. If Torah is your life, it needs to affect your Gashmius also. Because it's your life. If the schar for Torah and mitzvahs, even for the biggest tzaddik, would only be something good. At the end of the day, the tzaddik is a physical person in a physical world, in a physical body. So technically, what are you going to say? The schar is only ruchni, so this tzaddik could suffer. I mean, you get tortured and I don't know what, and have the worst of the worst of the worst. But he's gonna have some spiritual schar. He's gonna be understanding the Soidus HaTorah and understanding God and whatever. No, if Torah is his life, and the more he's one with the Torah, it penetrates his physical gashmistic being. So because it's Torah is your life, it has to affect your gashmius also. The bagashmius physically also, he has a good life bagashmius. It penetrates the gashmius too. If Torah is your life, and Torah brings bracha, it's not if because Torah is our life, and Torah. And a person is one with the Torah, so it doesn't just stay in some spirit. If the schar would only be spiritual, that means that Torah isn't your life. You're not one with the Torah. It's not really coming one with the person completely. There's still a wall that's separating between the head and the foot. If the whole reward would just be in the head, just be something high, something spiritual, and it would affect the foot, that means it's not his physical. It's not really one with him. It's not really his life. When Torah means it's your life. It goes from the head till the foot. You see it. It's brought out. It manifests itself in every single aspect. Just like when someone's happy, he jumps. So if the Torah is happy, and Torah gives, the Rebbe says Torah is the source. God is the source of everything, right? God created everything. He created the Gashmistic world. The Rambam says, any Gashmistic schar that's in this world is coming from God. Now God is one with his Torah. So Torah is the source for all the Gashmistic goods also. So if someone is one with the Torah, the Torah needs to give him Gashmistic goods also.
Because you have Gashmi, because you have a guf. So is this also like in line with the shita that like the shon of a guf together with it,
With the Ramban, it could be.
because it's
Makes sense.
and if you're going to be just a neshama, then you wouldn't need all this stuff.
You wouldn't
Torah,
need the gosh, man.
Torah is my life, but it's just my neshama, so it's not a guf, so I don't need all this stuff.
But yeah. You need it, but you don't have to be involved.
So Chassidus has a whole, like Kabbalah, has a whole way it's bringing out a mile of the guf over to the neshama, to a certain aspect, that the atzmos, the essence of God, is connected to the guf.
But also, you said earlier that
That's why it's amazing. Avram Avinu, and they're in Gan Eden, and they're there for thousands of years, but they're going to come back and Chayes amazing. Why? Because through them coming into their body down here, that's a higher level than being on level 9,000 in Gan Eden. Because each day, by each tefillah, they're being elevated to another level, a higher level, and they're there for at least 3,000 years. So that's 9,000 dargahs high up there in Gan Eden. Nevertheless, at Ches HaMesim, they're coming back into the body.
Because the body is going to be higher than the soul
Exactly.
when Mashiach comes.
Yes,
The body's
check
gonna
it
be-
out.
No.
You got your answer?
I think so. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it tomorrow. Mashiach,
Right.
thank you, Mad Mamash.
All right.
So now it makes sense to me because, as we know, says the Rebbe Rashab, that the body is going to be higher than the soul.
Right.
After Mashiach.
Right.
So this makes sense because the body needs obviously physical things. The soul doesn't really need it. So it makes sense that the reward will still be,
In physical.
Yeah.
But the way that Rebbe is bringing out is that the reward is defined by just the physical reward. It's spiritual and physical. The question is, what he's saying is that if the purpose of Torah is to penetrate the world, well, that's the purpose of Torah. Whatever. But Torah needs to also penetrate the world. Or that is a purpose to make a dinner b'dach Torah, to make for God. That's the whole purpose. To make a dwelling place in the lowest of the low. So it needs to penetrate the physicality. This reminds me the Mittel Rebbe, his birthday and his yortzeit on the same day. So the Rebbe asks, tzaddik is spiritual. And the Gemara says, certain tzaddikim, they're born, and it's not like on the same day because there's a very high level. Because they're complete, therefore, they live exactly, they're born and if they're on the same day. So the Rebbe says, who cares about the Gashmis? The question is, who cares about the Gashmis? They're spiritual people. The whole life of a tzaddik is a spiritual life, emunah in God, fear of God, love of God, not a physical, not their physical life. That's what the Rebbe says in Tanya. So why, when their birthday is on the same day, is that considered something so great and special? So the Rebbe explains, because the whole purpose of a tzaddik is not only to be a spiritual person, but the whole purpose is that to reveal in the physical the spiritual, in the body, that their body should be a mirror. The body should be a mirror off of the spiritual. The physical world should be mirroring off the spiritual world. And the Gashmis should become so refined and elevated that you should see in the physicality the spirituality. So if someone is complete, but is and is spiritual, he's a complete person, and his physicality is so refined that it's just mirroring off spirituality. So also in the physicality, it's also exact. The birthday and the yortzeit on the same day. That's why the middle of the Rebbe brings it says if you cut his finger, blood wouldn't come out, chassidus would come out. That's what it says. What does that mean? That his physical body, so I think blood would come out. But the point is that the spirituality is so penetrated. That was his physical life. The blood wouldn't come out. Chassidus would come out because he was living off of chassidus.
Right.
It's the same. I think it's the same idea over here. The point is that Torah is one with God, and God is the source of all the delicacies in this world. God's that source of that, and Torah is also the source of that because God's one with Torah. So if Torah penetrates the world, and Torah is your life, it has to create also in the physical, because Torah creates the physical. If you're telling me Torah is penetrating the world, it has to penetrate every aspect of you. It needs to benefit a person completely in any benefit that he could get. He can't just benefit him in a spiritual way. It needs to benefit him also in a physical way. Torah is the source for that. Yeah, so Torah is so that's the point of Torah. Because Torah is our life, and Torah is the source for everything, and Torah is revealed So Torah gives us whatever we need, physically and spiritually, but physically also. So according to this, it comes out that the physical schar is emphasized even more when someone's one with the Torah. When someone is one with the Torah in such a way that he's engraved in the Torah, so for sure he gets gashmistic eschar. Because where does all the gashmis come from? It comes from the Torah. So if someone's one with the Torah, if someone's separated from Torah, what does that mean? That he's separated from even from the source of the gashmistic eschar. If someone's one with the Torah, so the Torah gives him also automatically the gashmistic eschar. And the Rebbe explains over here, according to this, a very gewaldige thing over here. Why, when we plant now, it takes a long time till something grows? Because when you plant over here, what's making something grow? The spiritual, the Torah, which is high and very separated from this physical world now. And it takes a very long time for the Torah, the spirituality, to lower itself from level to level to level to level till it gets into this world and to make things grow. When Moshiach is going to come, when Torah is going to be revealed and the source, every single physical thing in this world is going to be aligned with its spiritual source. That's going to be one with the Torah. It's going to be just like you can separate between the letters from the rock, so too you can't separate from this world from the Torah. So the second the Torah says to grow, it's going to grow, right? For example, let's say you need okay, whatever, no need for an example. The things down here, they have the source up there that's making things grow. It takes a long time until it comes out. So it takes a long time for things to grow. There's Stalshalos, and there's many separations between this world and the spirituality and the Torah. When Moshiach said it comes, it's going to be Chakika. It's going to be engraved, which means Torah is going to be one with the world. Torah is going to be revealed. So it's not that could you pass me from the main office in who knows where. I need to get something. You have a bakeries, right? So you have, let's say, KC or this bakery or that bakery. They don't make it in-house. The food is made in a different bakery. It's made far away. And then they ship it in. So it takes time. What's if the bakery's in-house? So right when you make the food, it's ready. Boom. You made the cake and it's out there on the counter. Now, the bakery and down here are separated. So it takes a long time till we get things grown, till we get the fruits. When Mashiach is going to come, the spirituality is not going to be up there, something separate. It's going to be down here. It's going to be one with the world. It's going to penetrate the world. So the second in the spiritual realm, it says a tree should grow. So there's no reason why it should take a long time for it to grow. The same day it's going to grow, give out fruits.
There's no Mistachilus and there's no four worlds.
Not that there's no Stalshalus, but the source of things, it could be that there's many blockages between the weights and the Atzilus till down here. There's many blockages.
Right.
But because this world isn't the Kli, this world isn't the vessel. But if this world is elevated, so it's like everything's transparent. You just go straight through. It could be that it could go through the whole Ishtalshlus, but in 1 second, because this whole world is a vessel. No stopping. And the Rebbe says this is the Chiddush of Yemei Mashiach. There's going to be no separation between the spiritual growing and the physical growing. The word of God that something should grow is going to be one with this physical world. Therefore, it's going to grow right away by Gashmius. So when God is the source of the Gashmius, and when God's revealed, it affects the Gashmius also. Because God's also the source for all the Gashmius. He's a source for all the Ruchnius, and he's a source for all the Gashmius also. So if God's revealed, that Torah is revealed, it's manifested, not only spiritually, it's manifested physically also. If it would manifest itself spiritually, that would mean that God isn't the God of the physical. It would mean that Torah isn't our life physically. It would mean Torah is only our spiritual life. And because Torah is our physical life, Torah creates our physical gashmiistic life, our health, our body, our physical body, and our life is affected from the Torah. And Torah gives us a guy has problems, and I says, check your tefillin and mitzvahs, because our physical life comes from Torah and mitzvahs. Torah and mitzvahs gives us our physical life. So Torah gives us abundance begashmis and meruchnis. Why would someone be rich begashmis? Because he's rich meruchnis. And the Rebbe says this is in more depth the difference between. There's two ways of engraving something. There's engraving in a stone. It's one with the stone, but it's not through and through. By the luchis, it says that the samach and the shloss mem were a miracle. Because if you have a shloss mem and you're engraving a shloss mem inside, and it's not through and through, so there's a middle piece that has support. But if it's through and through, from one side to the other side, what's holding the middle piece of the shloss mem or the samach? That was a miracle. That was a miracle. Through and through. The Rebbe says now, even if the Torah is engraved, there's still, you can fill up the hole with garbage, with ink, with whatever you want, I don't know what, even when it's one. The base of Moshiach is like the luchas, the engraving of the luchas, that it's through and through, that it penetrates completely and totally, and there's absolutely no separation at all between a person and Torah. When someone's separated from the Torah to a certain aspect, it's not through and through, so the Torah also doesn't give him gashmius completely through and through. But when a person is totally one with the Torah, till you can't separate him at all from the Torah, so the Torah gives him abundance of gashmius also. That's why Chazal, when it talks about the Mesa Moshiach, it talks about the gashmius, the Yehudim that's going to be there. Because then the Torah will penetrate and become one completely with the world, and you won't be able to separate between the world and Torah, between the Yid and Torah. It's going to be completely one. Therefore, Torah automatically is going to give whatever it has. When you're separating from Torah, even if you're one, but it's not all the way. So I'm not going to give you whatever I have. I'll give you some. But when someone's completely one, so Torah gives whatever, give it all you got. Torah is going to go all the way in full blast. Not only spiritually, but physically also. And that's the whole idea of the luchas. It says the luchas is al tikra chorus al cherus. Don't read it engraved, read it freed. And it says free. The engraving in the luchas symbolizes our freedom from the malach hamavis, freedom from all evil, and that's going to be this aspect of engraved in the luchas, which symbolizes our complete freedom, 100% freedom. That's what's going to be what Moshiach comes. I thought of an example. You can have like a guy that's a good friend, so he'll give you this, I'll give you that, I'll give you some stuff. Let's say someone has a kala. Actually, the Medrash says it clearly. Well, it says that the Yid and God are like you got engaged with God. So God gave us some presents. He gave us some presents, this and that. You give the Kaaba some presents. But the Chassan doesn't give everything. Once he's married, then he gives, then the one. So whatever the Chassan has is hers, and whatever she has is his. Medrash says also that in Olam Hazeh, God gave us only the moon. He only gave us the moon. That's a little bit of presence. It says, "Achodesh hazeh lochem Rosh Chodashim." The pasuk says, "This month is the first month of the year." So it says, God showed Moshe Rabbeinu the moon, and He said, "You see the way the moon looks now? This is for you. This is how you should count your month." So we count by the moon. So basically, the Medrash says God gave us the moon. He gave us some presents. He gave us the moon. We go by the moon the days of the month, our Yom Tov go by the moon. He says when Mashiach is going to come, God's going to give us the sun also. He's going to give us everything. So basically, Bisman Hazeh, if we're only connected to Torah a little bit, so the Torah is going to give us a little bit of Gashmias. Also, if we're one with the Torah, and you can't separate yourself from the Torah, if it's mechukoisai, if it's engraved through and through, which that's mainly that's the lifestyle of Mashiach, then Torah gives whatever it has, all the abundance of the Gashmias, because Torah is our physical life. Torah is our Gashmistic life. Torah is the source of our physical Gashmistic life. So Torah gives us whatever we need with Gashmias also, not only Meruchnis.
So, if a chassan is married to a kala, then everything he owns, she also owns.
Whatever, it's the other way around.
Oh,
It's that she has no existence. She's totally nullified. To the husband, it's Kol Ma Shekana Isha Kana Baila.
oh.
Whatever she has belongs to him. But really, it goes both ways. That's the way it really goes. It's they're one unit. They're like one person,
So does that
and
mean
two halves.
does that mean that everything God has, we have too? Then
Because we're like the kala, you're saying, for God. Well, if we become one with God, and we're like a piece of God, so we have like the power of God. If a person comes nullifies himself to God, and he's like, let's say, married to God, so he gets God's powers. To a certain aspect. That's why tzaddikim, for example, they have certain powers. It's not their powers; it's because they're nullified to God, so they're using, so to speak, godly powers. They're partners with God. Was it explained good enough?
Oh, yeah,
Understood?
for
Yeah.
sure.
yeah.
Why does the Torah talk about the physical things? Because Torah is our life. Excuse me. Torah is our physical life, and it has to affect the physical also, not only the spiritual.
And that's why the body in resurrection of the dead is going to be higher than just the soul,
Right.
because it has to be physical and spiritual, not just.
Right. The source of the physical body is coming from the essence of God.
Yeah.
Oh, da, 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 ya, ya, la, da, ya, la, da, la, da, la, da, ya, ya. Ah, ya, 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 la, da, ya, la, da, la, da, ya, da, da, da. Da, ya, ya, Makes more sense. Never mind. Ay, 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 ay,